Good morning. Happy Monday. This is a great day already. I got Neuro coffee in hand, so you know I'm feeling pretty good. Wait a minute. I had to give it a test run. That is delicious as usual. Got the dark chocolate in there this morning, so it's always nice for an extra kick from a health standpoint and from a flavor standpoint. Highly recommend it. I wanted to address a cool question that came through on the Q&A. So this is a little bit different because it's not about wide ISAs and pelvises and stuff like that. Somebody asked me a question about learning, which is actually kind of a fun little topic to talk about, because the way that school is organized and formalized education, there's some gaps and some weaknesses associated with how things are done. And I think there are many ways that you can learn new things. And I just thought I would show you some of the things that I do that might be helpful for you. Because I did get a question from Sasha from sunny old London. And Sasha's a little frustrated with the reductionist approach of education, how a lot of things are presented as isolated systems, or they learn chunks of information that seem unrelated and it turns into rote memorization. And I understand the frustration because that's what I went through in school, but we just didn't know any better. But over time, you sort of develop your own little way of creating a system to allow you to take in more information, to create relationships that improve your understanding. And Sasha, in your question, you sort of answered this for yourself. So Sasha read the book Make It Stick, which is a great little book about how to organize things, to make things a little bit easier for you to learn, and to identify the gaps in your learning and how to address those. But one of the things that Sasha mentioned in this question is that most things are learned out of context. And so then the answer becomes learn things in context. And so all we have to do is create a way to do that. And so there's two elements that are essential for learning. So there's got to be an emotion attached to it, and then there's got to be attention. And so those basically are just two really good reasons. So there's something that you find interesting, and that's usually where you want to start. Rather than forcing yourself to learn something that you have no interest in whatsoever, start with something that you have a curiosity about, or a question about, or something that drives you, or just something that you find stimulating. And so that's step one. You have to start there, because if you're not interested in it, you're not going to spend any time on it. If you do spend time on it, you're going to find that you're going to be rereading the same sentence over and over again, and then nothing happens. And so one of the ways that I start is with a mind map. So I'm a big mind map guy. So let me show you that. I hope you can see this. I'll try to pull it back a little bit. Anyway, so this is just a brain dump. So this is looking at, I think this is my wide archetype mind map that I did a while back. And that changes from time to time, and I'll go back and I'll redo that. But basically what you're going to try to do is you're going to try to get the question out of your head and onto a piece of paper and make it real. And this is where you start to identify what elements are related to any particular topic. So I'll show you another one. So this is actually for all the way down to a box squat. So you can take this down to an exercise rather than just an archetype or any topic for that matter. But that's where it starts. And so then you start to look at the related issues to any particular topic. And then you just pick a place to start. It's like, what catches your eye? What's most interesting? So let's just say that you were talking about an inversion ankle sprain and you had a curiosity about that. And so right away, you say, well, what is an inversion ankle sprain? So that's box number one. And then what are the mechanics that are associated with ankle motion? And so now we have a reason to study ankle motion. So now it's kind of interesting. I can see the relationship, and I can say, oh, this is what happens during an inversion ankle sprain. So then what's the opposing strategy, which would be eversion? And so now I can see the mechanics there. And then I can look at related musculature. And so now I have a process that I can build outward from. That's just a heck of a lot more interesting than me just saying, okay, here's the ankle anatomy for absolutely no reason at all. And then what you're going to do is you're going to establish some resources. And so I grab a book. And so then I look at a book and then I start tabbing the interesting elements that I think are related to my mind map. And so I just got a couple books here to show you that I tabbed the bejesus out of some of these things, right? And so for each of those tabs then, that becomes something of importance. And then what I do there is I will turn those into a note card. Okay, and so each of those little highlights that you make in your books, or an underline, or the marginalia that you write in, becomes a note card. And then that note card has a topic. And so the way you organize your note cards, you organize them by sources. So for every book that I access, I have a source card. And so this has the author's name, the title, the publisher, all that cool stuff, just in case I need to cite it for something that I might be writing or creating. But it also lets me know where I found things. And so each of the source cards has a number, and then anything I pull from that has a number on a note card. So I know where I got that note from. So again, I can always trace things back to where they came from. And then as I'm working on these things, I have little project boxes. Okay, so when I say little project boxes, that's a project box there. And this is a new one that I started recently. And so in here, then I found my note cards. So each of these is a category, and so I'll have source cards in here. I have quotes, I have topics, so that's an IT band card there. This is inflammation, so we're talking about the prostaglandins, bradykinins, hydrogen ions, etc., etc. And so it all depends on what I'm working on at the time as to how that's organized. But basically, and this is my process, and it seems a little neurotic, I'm sure, for some people, but what it does is it provides an element of organization, and it allows you to create a context or a project, and then you see how everything relates within that. And so that's how you can slowly learn elements of each system, and then you just build outward. And so if something drives you, say, oh, I want to learn more about the immune system, and so we go back to the ankle sprain example. So with an ankle sprain, under usual circumstances, I have a sterile inflammation. So what's the difference between sterile and non-sterile inflammation? And so that might drive an element of interest and allows me to acquire some element of knowledge. The thing that you really have to understand, though, from a learning standpoint, is, again, attach the emotion and the attention to it. So it's got to be something of interest, and then that's where you start, and you just build outward. But I would suggest that you come up with your own process. You can use mine if you want. So if we went through this process, we map, we ask questions, we look for resources, we go through those resources, we pull the interesting things, we document those interesting things, and then we organize them in some way, shape, or form to allow us to draw on those whenever we need to. So hopefully that gives you a little taste of what I do from a learning perspective, gives you a little bit of strategy as to how to attack this problem of this overwhelm of there's so much to learn. How do I do it? You just start somewhere. And so that would be my suggestion to you. I hope you have a great day. Enjoy your NeuroCoffee as I will enjoy mine. And we'll see you later.